Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good morning, CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Tolu Ojewumi. Another nurse who treated the late Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer in Lagos has tested positive to the Ebola virus. This brings to 10 the number of confirmed Ebola cases in Nigeria. Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu, who disclosed this at a press conference in Abuja, says 177 people are under observation after making primary contact with the index case.
It's only a few days since the late Patrick Sawyer brought the Ebola virus into Nigeria, and already the casualty figure is climbing. 10 cases have now been confirmed, including the index case. All affected Nigerians are said to have had contact with the late Liberian American.
It has been 22 days since EVD first landed in Nigeria. As of today, 177 primary and secondary contacts of the index case have been placed under surveillance or isolation. 9 developed Ebola virus disease, bringing the total number of cases in Nigeria to 10. Of these 10, 2 have died, that is, the Liberian American and the Nigerian nurse, while 8 are alive and currently on treatment.
The new case is a health worker like others. And although the minister, as usual, will not disclose her identity, but he disclosed that she is a newly married nurse.
She doesn't have children, and it's only the husband she's been in contact with. So the husband is under surveillance, yes. Only the husband? Only the husband, newly married, and only 2 of them live in the house.
The health authorities say Nigeria is collaborating with local and international partners to contain the virus, but the minister is also looking forward to doctors calling off their strike.
We are still discussing with the NMA. We are still pleading with the Nigerian Medical Association to ask its members to return to work. While we are still doing that, we've not gone to bed. We are not sleeping. There are doctors who are not part of the strike, and they've been taking part in the management of these patients. As of today, for the treatment of Ebola virus disease, the NMA strike is not affecting it. But that is not to say that we don't want doctors to work. We certainly want doctors to work, particularly now that we want to be sure that in every other state we don't have the problem. So we're still in touch with the NMA, and we hopefully they may even call it off this week.
The Nigerian government is convinced that its efforts to check the spread of the virus will succeed. But for now, the number of confirmed cases is now in double digits, with over 100 people either under observation or in isolation.
There was panic at the arrival hall of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, MMIA, Lagos, as a passenger on queue at the port health unit of the terminal slumped and died. He slumped while waiting to collect his vaccination and inoculation certificate, otherwise known as yellow card. The passenger, identified as a Nigerian, was said to be on his way to Ghana for medical treatment. His death coincided with a visit of the new aviation minister, Oshita Chidoka, who inspected facilities at both the domestic and international terminals of the airport. According to airport authorities, the passenger arrived to Lagos on August 8 for business transactions and took ill. When his health got worse, he reportedly called his doctor in Accra, who advised him to return for further medical treatment. Now to talk shop ahead of the final session of the National Conference, many delegates are concerned about how the recommendations would impact Nigeria's future. There are also others who say the 3-month session showed that the nation's problems were worse than they initially thought. The delegates are, however, hopeful that the outcome of the conference won't be discarded. Paul Samuel reports.
After 3 months of deliberations, the national conference is set to wind down. The final report is done, but delegates are concerned about how Nigerians will benefit from the outcome of the conference. Resource control remains a sticking point, and these delegates believe regions should be given what they deserve.
Personally, I would have wished that the 5% for area ravaged by insurgents and other matters should be made national. So many parts of this country have suffered all kinds of things. We in Southwest, in Ogun and Lagos, a year or two ago, there was so much devastation in terms of flood. Also in Delta. Delta State was had substantial part of Delta flooded and many houses ruined. So if they had made that 5% national, rather than to North Central, North East and Northwest, and excluded Southwest and Southeast, was what created the problem.
A number of them are also worried over the security situation in the country. This is why delegates like Olu Falaye pushed for state police.
If here, during the First Republic, every region had its own constitution, in which they included the powers devolved to them at the center. So for the first time, the states will have their own constitution. That means they are now proper governments. 2, each state will have a police force which will enforce its own enactments. That is the meaning of a government. A government is a body that can legitimately make laws and enforce them by their own authority through a police force. That is the definition of a government. Now they are proper governments. 2, in the federation units control their own local governments. Hitherto they were third tier control from Abuja. Now they are proper state federation units. 4, we now have courts of appeal at the state level, which will be the final court, except in cases like murder and capital punishment, etc. But for most cases will end in the state Supreme Court. So you don't have to go from Calabar to Abuja.
But at least one delegate told CoreTV News that the conference showed him a dark side of Nigeria he never knew.
Very illuminating in many respects, and opened my eyes to many things. Some of them very sad things, many of them very sad things, but true things, I think. I mean, there's really no absolute truth, but my own perception is that things are worse in Nigeria than I thought.
And with many people wondering how the outcome of the conference could become part of the country's laws, Festus Okoye says the government has a number of options.
If the leadership of this country has the political will and is sincere and decides to implement some of the recommendations, Nigeria will be a great place. Now, some of the recommendations are administrative in nature and affects either the federal government or the state governments or the local governments. So I believe that they should be segregated and taken to those levels of government. Some of the recommendations are policy in nature, that you don't need any legislation or any National Assembly intervention to implement. The organs concerned with all these things should go ahead and implement them.
So, what then should Nigerians expect as the conference reconvenes for a final session?
Before we leave, we concluded that we will send our report to Mr. President, who sent us there. We will now set up a technical committee that will translate that issue. So we are going there now. We are resuming on Monday. It's supposed to be on the 4th. They are sent to, because of this Salah holiday, only for us to peruse the report. So we don't want anybody to smuggle things inside the report. What we don't discuss, we enter there. I think it may be about 2-3 days after we peruse and we okay it to be signed. Everybody has a copy, and I leave the floor.
Now that another national conference has gone down into history, Nigerians can only hope that the outcome will go a long way in making the country a better place.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll visit Burundi. Please stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
Burundi prepares for its presidential and general elections in a few months. Analysts are worried that a violent trend noticed in political campaigns may lead to a crisis if not checked. This report takes a look at the worries expressed as a result of a youth mobilization for campaign. The report.
These protesters are all members of the youth wing of the NCDD-FDD, the party that has governed Burundi for almost a decade. Known as the Imbonerakure, they are rallying their supporters ahead of next year's presidential election.
In taking part in this march, maybe now others will also have a desire to ask for membership at the very heart of our party.
The group claims to have millions of members, though others estimate their number to be in hundreds of thousands. While this rally is good-natured, Imbonerakure activists have been accused of harassing civilians and violent acts against political opponents. Emmanuel belongs to an opposition party and says he and his friends were ambushed.
The Imbonerakure threw themselves on us and beat us with cow horns and iron bars. They attempted to rape 2 girls who were with us. We resisted, but there were lots of them. They hit me here on my head and I had to go to hospital.
Emmanuel claims no one was investigated for the attack. The head of the youth wing admits there are problems but says there are isolated incidents.
1 or 2 in Imbonerakure may commit a crime. We're not denying this. But it is important not to globalise, to generalise, but to denounce the people who committed this act of violence. They need to be tracked down and punished in compliance with the law.
The number of reported incidents have fallen in recent months, especially after the UN voiced concern that weapons could have been distributed among some of the youth wing activists. But rights groups in this small Eastern African nation are still concerned.
There's a risk that these youths who act as though they are a third peacekeeping force alongside the army and police are really a militia. Once armed, this militia risks becoming dangerous. They may even begin to act like the infamous Interahamwe, who kicked off the genocide in Rwanda.
Many here still remember the civil war that ended in 2006 after more than a decade of bloodshed. They fear the campaign for the presidential election, which is just months away, could spark a fresh conflict if not handled maturely.
We'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Up next, Cool Digest.